The Miracle of Corpus Christi, the Eucharistic wonder that strengthened faith. Corpus Christi is one of the most intriguing festivals in the Christian tradition, and perhaps due to its complexity, it is not celebrated by all denominations. Despite spanning generations over thousands of years, its true origin and meaning remain unknown to many. In fact, the story of Corpus Christi is often distorted and misunderstood, even by many Christians who fail to grasp its true significance. However, from now on, we will uncover together what really happened. Without further ado, let's start the video. The whole story begins in the year 1263. At that time, Europe was a mosaic of fervent beliefs and intense religious practices. Amid this setting, there was a priest from Prague, a city in the north of Italy. This priest, named Peter, was experiencing a great crisis of faith. He had doubts about the real presence of Jesus Christ in the Holy Eucharist, a problem that deeply tormented his soul. Determined to find answers and strengthen his faith, the priest decided to make a pilgrimage to Rome, the Eternal City. In those times, many believers made pilgrimages to the tombs of the apostles, St. Peter and St. Paul, in Rome, seeking an increase in faith and divine graces. So, Peter set off from Prague, crossing various regions on his spiritual journey. Along the way, he decided to stop in the town of Bolsena. Bolsena was known for its devotion to Saint Christina, a virgin and martyr from the 3rd or 4th century. The town, with its enormous and beautiful lake, was a place of great faith and religious history. Saint Christina was called the Saint of Misfortunes due to the numerous martyrdom attempts she endured because of her faith. Born into a pagan family, Saint Christina converted to Christianity at a young age despite her parents' objections. Her devotion to the Christian faith aroused the anger of her own father, who held a prominent position in the town of Bolsena. Determined to make her renounce her faith, her father subjected her to a series of tortures and attempts on her life. However, according to tradition, all attempts to kill her failed due to miraculous interventions. Finally, he decided to tie a heavy stone to Christina's body and throw her into Lake Bolsena, believing this would kill her. However, a miracle occurred. Instead of sinking, the stone to which Saint Christina was tied miraculously floated on the water's surface, sustaining her and preventing her from drowning. As Saint Christina floated on the stone, her footprints remained marked on it. These footprints became tangible evidence of the miracle and a sacred relic for the faithful. The footprints have been preserved over the centuries as a symbol of Saint Christina's presence and the divine intervention that saved her from certain death. The devotion to Saint Christina was intense in Bolsena, and many pilgrims visited her tomb seeking blessings. It was in this atmosphere of religious fervor that the priest Peter decided to celebrate a Mass, asking for Saint Christina's intercession to strengthen his faith in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. During the Mass, something truly extraordinary happened. Peter, still struggling with his crisis of faith regarding the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist, lifted the consecrated host during the moment of consecration. It was then that the host began to bleed. Blood flowed from the host, staining his hands and the corporal, a square cloth placed on the altar. This unexpected and miraculous event astonished not only Peter but also the faithful present, who observed the miracle with awe and reverence. Overwhelmed by emotion, astonishment, and spiritual relief, Father Peter could not continue the celebration of the Mass. He carefully placed the bleeding host on the corporal and, filled with tears of joy and renewed devotion, headed to the sacristy. As he moved, drops of blood fell on the floor and the steps of the altar, leaving indelible marks that would be preserved as sacred relics. The news of the miracle quickly spread throughout the church. Other priests came to verify what had happened, and they were all impressed by the visible evidence of the miracle, the blood-stained corporal and the bloodied stones. With a heart full of gratitude and still in shock, Peter decided to take the blood-stained corporal and report the miracle directly to Pope Urban IV, who was in the nearby town of Orvieto. Upon arriving in Orvieto, Peter recounted the event in detail to the Pope. Deeply moved by the account, Pope Urban IV recognized the miracle as a divine sign of the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. He recalled the vision received by Saint Juliana of Liège, who had identified the need for a specific feast to celebrate the Eucharist. In the early 13th century, Saint Juliana, a young nun of 16, began to experience mystical visions revealing the need for a special celebration dedicated to the Eucharist. Following this miraculous event, in 1264, Pope Urban IV issued the papal bull Transitoris, officially establishing the Feast of Corpus Christi. The feast was designed to strengthen faith in the Eucharist and promote Eucharistic devotion. To ensure the proper liturgical structure, Pope Urban IV enlisted the help of Saint Thomas Aquinas, who composed the famous hymn Laude Chaun, which became central to the celebration. The first solemn celebration of Corpus Christi included a grand Eucharistic procession, marking the beginning of a tradition that continues to this day. The town of Orvieto became the focal point of the event, and a magnificent cathedral was built to house the blood-stained corporal. This cathedral, known as the Duomo di Orvieto, remains a significant site of religious pilgrimage. Although not all Christian denominations celebrate Corpus Christi, the central message remains clear: faith in the presence of Christ in the Eucharist. The story of this miracle continues to inspire believers worldwide, reinforcing the importance of devotion, faith, and divine intervention. Regardless of different religious interpretations, the essence of the story reminds all believers of the significance of faith, love, and reverence for God's presence in their lives.